It's almost time to hear friends in low places on a college football Saturday in Boise. But this season, it'll be at the Pac-12 level. And while we won't get to see the Vandals, maybe one day, Idaho, we will get to see Bronco basketball, soccer, and more under that Pac-12 banner. But the switch from the Mountain West didn't come without a cost. Cooper Morgan explains how Boise State's athletic department is facing a budget deficit that only looks to grow.
He doesn't just live on campus. He practically lives in the stadium.
Yeah, I do. I didn't miss a game last season.
Nathan Woodall's excited to see something new.
But I think it's also cool to be able to, Pac-12 is a very, known conference, so it's going to be fun to be able to play with that logo on the field. That'd be cool to see.
But the move to the Pac-12 didn't come without a price tag.
Obviously, we're behind. We are trying to keep pace with those we compete with.
The university expects a $2 million budget deficit in the athletics budget for the current fiscal year. But if nothing changes, that shortfall could balloon to between $14 and $18 million next year.
That is the introduction of revenue share, as well as the university's transition to the Pac-12 conference.
Revenue share is when the university pays college athletes directly, which they can do now. On top of the sponsorship deals players can already get.
Is evolving about as fast as AI.
Boise State has $10 million set aside for revenue share. And that's not even the $21.5 million max they're allowed to spend.
And I say this a lot, we don't need what everyone else has. We just need more than we currently have.
As for the move to the Pac-12, Boise State paid to leave the Mountain West. The exit costs increased the athletic department's operating budget by about $7.6 million.
Actually also settling the Mountain West before we went into the Pac-12.
Not to mention, fans are just expecting more.
At who we are today and who we want to be tomorrow. I would also say from a stadium and fan experience, and when you look at our facilities, there are deferred maintenance challenges.
To close the budget gap, Boise State is turning its venues into year-round moneymakers, booking monster trucks, banana ball, and a Luke Combs stadium concert.
So in the short term, we are looking at how can we increase revenues with that type of activity. But in the longer term, to keep up with this, we'll have to identify other areas of revenues as well as expenses.
What those other sources of revenue are, we don't know yet, but it'll be worked on.
And we're fighters, and that's what it means to be a Bronco. And so none of this is an excuse in terms of our level of competition and what we expect of ourselves. You come to Boise State to get your degree and compete for championships, and that's a non-negotiable for me and our team.
That culture is something Woodall echoes.
It's the thing where players are going to come here to play. They're not going to come here just for the money. So I think we can look past some of the budget things and start building a culture and bring in players that want to win.
Kind of like the way he and his RA buddies team up to walk across campus.
I think it's just a family.
State officials clarified that this is not a structural deficit. Yes, athletics has a deficit, but the university has enough reserves to absorb it this year, so that this doesn't threaten the university's overall finances right now. But that begs the question, how long can Boise State keep using reserves to cover athletics losses? Hunter, we don't exactly know.
Yeah, exactly. And it sounds like, from my understanding, it's a new year, right? We just switched from Mountain West to Pac-12. That's a big change. A lot of kind of costs that you don't really know how to juggle in the meantime. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. They really have to tackle this type of stuff, and there's not a lot of whole framework around NIL or all. It's so developing. Like you said in that story, AI is kind of something that is similar to just how fast we're seeing this. So Protect College Sports Act was something that they talked about in that meeting. They're really hoping to see some advancements at that at some point, to kind of help these colleges navigate this rapid change.
Yeah, so many changes happening at BSU and with really, college campuses across the country. Yeah, I'm impressed that they're able to navigate as they go, but you got to stay in budget too.
Exactly.
All right, Cooper, thank you.